Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Welcome to your prenatal yoga today. My name is Emma and I'll be teaching today with and on behalf of Fit Mums and Friends. So welcome to your prenatal practice. Hopefully you can hear me well. You may be out in the garden right now enjoying this glorious sunshine, perhaps in your lounge or somewhere in your home. Welcome to my home. This is where the classes are coming from right now. So all you'll need today is a yoga mat, if you've got one. If you don't have a yoga mat, don't worry. We'll be sat on the floor for a little while and then we'll be standing. The main thing is that you make sure the feet are firm on the floor when we're standing. And when we're sat on the floor, I use a blanket or a cushion off the sofa. Feel free to comment in the section if you want to say hi. Hopefully they will pop up and I'll be able to see who's here. So today's practice is based around the word sanctuary. And sanctuary can mean many different things to us for many different reasons. The reason I've drawn upon this theme for today's practice is because out in our garden right now, I wish I could show you, maybe on our next video, we have this huge tree that is currently home to two little blackbirds that are nesting in there. And every morning when I'm like doing the washing up or sat near the garden, see this female blackbird and she's so busy. She like scoots around and collects up all these twigs and moss and grass and bits and pieces. And sometimes it takes her a few times to get into the tree, but she gives it her best shot every time and takes all this stuff in to make her nest. And what I love about seeing this is the care and dedication and time that she takes to create this sanctuary, literally within this tree in our garden. And with the level of care and dedication and time she takes, that reaches out to myself, my husband as well. We saw a cat in the garden the other day and we were like shooing these cats away, so that she has this sanctuary within this tree for her and the babies, the birds that she's going to bring forward. And so through seeing that every morning, I want to bring you a short yoga practice for you within the sanctuary of your own home. And so sanctuary might mean your home to you today. Sanctuary might mean baby's home right now, everything that you're providing for him or her or them. And as we move today, we'll nourish this body with movement, with breath, allowing yourself to know that you have everything that you need. So often the world is this expanse of things to buy and places to go. And just like the blackbird, she knows what she needs. And then that's it. She prepares. So that's how we're going to work today, and hopefully the theme of sanctuary will resonate with you, and maybe on your next walk around the village or wherever you are, you might be able to look about and maybe see if you can spot some nests around and about. So we're going to start seated. I'm going to move away from the camera and up and sit up onto a blanket. So feel free to do that if you need to, and hopefully you can still hear me. Okay. So just making sure that you're sat comfortably up on a block or up on a cushion. Bringing the hands towards the knees, just briefly for a moment, so the palms are firm on towards the legs. And then think of hugging baby bump in towards you energetically. So you're drawing in slightly. And a little lift up through the chest. Just take a couple of breaths there. Hopefully you're in a quiet sanctuary somewhere, but you may have children and pets and partners and all sorts of people running around your home. So the sanctuary that you're looking for, that you're establishing, might be within. And then bringing the hands, you can have the eyes open or closed, bringing the hands on towards baby bump and welcoming them to the practice as well, greeting them and inviting them into your yoga. We're going to take about 5 to 8 rounds of breath here. And it might be that you gently let the exhalation out through the mouth. Every time you breathe in, feeling that expansion, that swell of the belly. And as you exhale, it's as if you're hugging the baby back in towards you, giving them a little squeeze. Feel free to take about 4 more rounds of breath there, breathing up in towards the chest. And the exhalation, keeping the sides of the body long all the way out through the mouth. A couple more here. And as we sit, coming back to that affirmation that you have everything you need right now. Well done. The eyes are closed. Feel free to open them or you can keep them closed. Bringing the hands back towards the knees, and we're just going to take the body. So my legs are crossed. You can have the legs stretched out if you prefer, or have the cross of the legs a little bit further away from you. Depending on where you are in your pregnancy, first, second or third trimester, perhaps you're just following this video along to get some movement in the body. Maybe you're postnatal or just want some movement. Wherever you're at, tune into what feels right for your body. So you've got the hands towards the knees, and I'm going to take the body around in a circle. So I'm making my circles quite big, just so you can see the movement. Your circles might be smaller. And as I move, I'm kind of rolling through the ribs. So we're going to get a little bit of movement in towards the hips. Baby might get a little massage in there as well. And then remember that your movement may or may not look like mine. Okay, it may or may not look like mine. So you can let the shoulders roll in, taking that movement from side to side. We're just going to do a couple more here. Exhaling through the mouth if you need to at any time. Excellent. After the next one, we're going to take that in the opposite direction. So we're going to roll the body around. And again, as long as this feels okay, sat like this, cross-legged. If it doesn't, if you've got any sensitivity in the pelvis, then just keep the legs stretched out, a little bit of distance apart. And take about 4 more circles here. You can go quicker, you can go slower. An excellent one just to move through the spine. The body has a lot more fluid in the system. The blood volume increases about 45% in pregnancy. So this movement often helps a little bit with that. Coming back to center. Let's give the shoulders a little roll around one way and the other way. Great. We're going to repeat that movement, but we're going to do this actually now on hands and knees. If it doesn't feel comfortable, you can stay sat as you are. So I'm going to take the cushion away, but if you want to, you can also kneel on the cushion. So if you want the cushion underneath the knees, maybe you don't have a yoga mat and the knees are sensitive, you can do that. So I'm going to bring my hands to the floor, knees to the floor. Now, if it's too much to be on the hands, you can be on fists as well. Sometimes the wrist can get a little sensitive. And then from here, the knees might have to be wide or quite wide, depending on where you are in your pregnancy. But I also find that helps with the movement. And then we're going to take the hips and the ribs and the shoulders around again. So we're going to take about 5 or 6 rounds here. Now my head isn't moving as much because I'm just keeping an eye and just checking the Facebook Live is still working. But you can just roll the head. And as you move though, get that sense of just a little bit of hug of the baby bump in towards you. We're just going to take 2 more here. Just breathing naturally, making sure that exhalation is long. And then let's take this to the other way. So we roll through the hips, the spine, the shoulders, the head and the neck, getting that stretching. And so maybe you've been at home a little bit more this week than normal. The children are off school, so this 30 minutes of time can be repeated. You can watch this back on Facebook and you can share it with any of your friends as well. You could maybe watch along together, one of them in their home and you in yours, practicing yoga together but remotely. Let's just take a couple more here. Good, and then coming back to center. Excellent. We're going to tuck the toes under and just get a bit of a stretch in towards the soles of the feet. So if you've got anything going on like plantar fasciitis or anything like that and it just feels too tender, then just keep the toes untucked. Good, and then bringing the hips back up above the knees, untucking the toes. Walking the hands forward. Any shoulder injuries or issues, just stay very high in this pose, high up with the body. Otherwise, I'm going to lengthen through the arms and just soften the chest between the arms. So I'm just going to move the camera very slightly so you can see a little easier. So I'm going to walk the hands out, and as I do, I'm going to root down through the shins, walking the arms out. Now, some of you will go about here, release the head in between their arms. There's a sense of pressing down through the shins and drawing baby bump in towards you. Some of you might go a little further. It really depends on how your body is. If you're particularly strong through the shoulders, you might not go as far. We're just going to take a couple more breaths here, really breathing into the back body. Excellent. And then walking the hands back to kneeling for a moment. Bringing the hands towards baby bump. Again, just taking a few rounds of breath there as we draw within. When we think often of the word sanctuary, it's somewhere safe, somewhere where we can rest. And so sanctuary might be your home today, in the garden. It might be somewhere quiet, even on a walk, that you can then bring the hands towards the belly and tap into that sanctuary within. Just take in about 2 more breaths here. You can have the eyes closed if you wish. Excellent. We're going to come into a pose now called downward facing dog. If this is too much, come back to that pose we just did with the arms stretched out, knees on the floor. If downward facing dog feels like it will be all right, it's a great stretch for the back of the legs. We also want to get a sense of hugging the baby bump in towards you. So when we come into downward facing dog, we don't want to press too much into the shoulders either. We want to get a sense of the hands pressing down and the belly drawing in. I'll do this pose with you just so you can see if you're newer to yoga. So hands on towards the floor. Remember, you want the hands to be firm though. So if you're on carpet and not on a mat, just make sure that the hands won't slip. And then I'm going to tuck the toes under. Again, you can see if I soften through the spine, I'm going to draw in and then lift the sit bones up. So lift the bum up into the air. Now for my legs, I need to bend the knees a little bit. You might need to as well. And if you're more late second, third trimester, you might need to take the feet wider apart. A little softness through the knees and give the head a little shake. So again, there's this continual press through the heels of the hands. Baby bump draws in and soften through the back of the neck.
From here, we're going to walk the hands back. I'm just going to move slightly more forward on my mat. We're going to walk the hands back, coming up on towards the balls of the feet into this squat. Now you can keep the hands on the floor and bring the feet closer together if you wish. If you find that you've got the balance today, bring one hand up to one thigh, just check. One hand up to the other thigh. Now from here, we want to get a sense of squeezing in and up. So think of little lift through pelvic floor, drawing baby bump towards you, almost like you're trying to clip the heels together. So there's this continual sense of lift. I know it's quite strong in towards the legs. It's a wonderful shape for prenatal yoga. There's to build strength into legs, to build strength in these squatting poses. Bring the hands towards the floor. You might need to take the legs and the feet a little wider. And then bring one hand to the leg, other hand to leg. Come up to stand. I'm just going to move the camera so that you'll be able to see me. Great. Well done. That's quite a strong pose. So making sure that you've got space here, you're going to step towards the top of the mat and step the left leg back. So I've gone into quite a long stance. You don't need to do that at all. You can be in a much shorter stance if you wish. My front foot, the right leg is pointing forward and the back foot is turned in. So we're going to come into a pose called Warrior Two in yoga. If the pelvis feels very sensitive, just be in a much shorter stance. So from here, I'm going to take the arms up. So I've got my chest towards the side of the mat, one arm pointing forwards, the other arm pointing back. We're going to move a little bit here. So as I press down through the feet, reaching the arms up, and then I straighten through that front leg. And exhale into the pose. We're going to do that 4 more times. Inhale, reaching up. Good. Exhale down. 3 more times. So as you move here, we're moving in towards the joints, moving in towards the legs. So we're building strength and this sense of grounding through the body, earthing through the body, exhaling down. Sometimes when a lot of things are going on around us and our sanctuary doesn't feel very quiet, we can lose that ability to be earth towards the floor. Good. So keeping the legs as they are now, the hand behind you is going to come to the hip. The other hand is going to reach up. So maybe this is as far as you wish to go. Keep that front knee a little bit bent. Otherwise, reach up and a little lean back. Little lean back. 3rd trimester, if this feels too much, stay in Warrior Two, moving through that front leg. Good. We come back to Warrior Two. Now this front arm, I'm going to bring it on towards my thigh. So I'm not leaning, I'm just touching the arm. I know it's quite strong, my legs are working as well. Think of baby bump hugging in and the other arm reaching up. Now I'm staying looking forward at the moment, that helps my balance. You can look down or you can look up. And with that top arm, you can stretch it over the head. So you get this real strong energy from the heel of the hand down towards the foot. Well done. Let's come back up to Warrior Two. Bring the hands to the hips, straighten that front leg. Good. Turn on that heel and turn the other foot out. So you're just going to face the other end of the mat. So first of all, we find Warrior Two. So we bend into that front leg. And then remembering, again, if there's something going on with the pelvis, if it feels too sensitive, you can be in a shorter stance. We lift up through the front arm, so it's going into that forward direction. And then we take the other arm up. So I kind of turn the chest towards the side end of the mat. We're going to move a little bit here. And just move a little bit so you can see me a little bit better. So you take the arms up. And exhale into the pose. Good, we've got 4 more here. Inhale, reaching up. And then exhale, softening down. Good. Keep moving there. So again, we're moving in towards the energy of the body. When we move consciously, we can shift that energy, sometimes from a feeling state of maybe a little bit overwhelmed, confused, not sure what's going on in our days at the moment. We can change that to feeling a little bit more positive sometimes, if and when we wish to. We don't have to, remember that. So from warrior two, hand towards the back hip, reach that front arm up, and then I press onto that back hip a little bit, reach up and a little lean back. Again, if it's too much for the body, stay in warrior two, moving through the legs. Okay, we're going to return back there now. So warrior two, bend into that front knee a little bit or a lot. Front arm on towards that thigh. So as we lean forward, you might notice that the weight goes forward a little bit. We want to lean back very slightly and maybe on an exhalation, hug baby bump towards you. We press down through the feet a lot. Reach the arm up. Now remember, on the first side, I said you could look up, forward or down. It's wherever feels comfortable for you. And then you can stretch that arm forward and over the head. Good. Little draw of the belly in. Come back up to warrior two. Straighten that front leg, hands to the hips. And then turn to the side of the mat. Well done. We're just going to bring the feet slowly together, just toe heel them together and give the legs a little shake. Excellent. Well done. Okay, your legs are probably feeling it now. They're probably feeling that they've worked a little bit. But this is really great. It's great to build strength in the legs, especially because as you get more pregnant, you're going to need that extra strength to walk around. Once baby's here as well, having good strong legs allows us to connect with that earth element. So these standing poses are really good if there's a lot going on in the head. Well done. Coming towards the top of the mat, having the feet quite wide apart. I'm going to move the camera again in a minute. I'm going to take the arms wide, coming into a squat. So my feet are wide, and you can move yours as wide as you need to accommodate baby bump. Bringing the hands towards the floor and stepping one leg back, and then the other leg back. And then taking the knees wide and extending back into child's pose. So the hips go back and just take a little bow forward. You might not go too far forward if you're later on in third trimester. Good. And then coming up to kneeling. Great, well done. So those poses that we did standing, if you need to, you can watch this again. You can also look them up in prenatal flows. We did what's called warrior one, reverse warrior, and side angle. And they're a great sequence to be done together because the legs stay in similar place and the upper body gets that ability to move. It's a great flow for pregnancy. Okay, we're going to do a seated pose now. So I'm just going to use this cushion to sit up on. So I just grabbed it off my sofa earlier. That's the great thing about working from home. And then as I sit up on the cushion, I'm going to bring the soles of the feet together. So the soles of the feet together, and the feet can be quite far away. Again, if the pelvis feels very sensitive, then have the legs crossed. If that feels too much, then make sure you modify so it feels okay for you. This feels all right. We're going to just have hands on towards the shins. We're not going to bow forward. It really depends. If you're first trimester and you're like, and you practice yoga and you're like, I'm fine folding forward, you can. If it feels comfortable, but a lot of times during pregnancy, we want to focus on this side body long. So I'm going to hold the shins here between the knee and the ankle. And as I hold them, I'm going to pull on them a little bit, very gently, in order not to lift the chin. Often happens for me, but I want to think of lifting a little bit through the chest. And then if the back feels okay, sometimes I'll almost take a little lean back. And this can borrow back a little bit of space here in towards the breathing. You can draw the chin in. You can have the eyes open or closed. And as we sit, it's almost in this expanse of sanctuary, this expanse of this safe place that you are creating, that you are holding, that you are building. And as we sit in this very open pose, working towards the hips, taking a moment to acknowledge that your body is your baby's home right now, this sanctuary within. Perhaps you take a moment to visualize how the baby is happy and settled and comfy right now. I'm going to take about 3 more breaths there, and I find that sometimes when something makes me smile during my practice, I'll let that happen. And again, it kind of brightens the cells of the body. Well done. Let's cross the legs. And a little bit of homework before we finish. If you wish to, at home, create a little sanctuary within. I find that sometimes building a little altar or a little area in my home with little objects of sentimental value often helps. So it might be putting up a couple of photos or some objects that you found on trips abroad or when you went to the beach or something that means something to you, that reminds you maybe of creating a sanctuary. And you can place that somewhere in your home, maybe even in your garden now the weather's a bit brighter. And I find that sometimes connecting to tangible objects can help me connect to that stillness and that quietness within. So we're going to close with a twist. I'm going to keep one hand onto the same knee today and the other hand I'm going to take behind me. A very gentle twist, so you can see probably the fabric of my top moving a little there. So I'm not twisting very far. Just want to think of a little turn in towards the upper part of the spine, maybe in towards the neck. And if the jaw feels a little tight, you can kind of wriggle and roll the jaw. Good. And then let's come back to center. And we repeat that to the other side. You can change the cross of the legs if you wish. And know that you can do this sat up on the sofa as well if sitting on the floor doesn't feel comfortable for you today. And then we take a twist towards the other side. Good. Just take in one more breath there. And then coming back to center. And so as we begin to close our practice, just taking a moment to maybe notice out in the garden and just seeing if you can spot any of those birds that I mentioned, maybe building their nests, and acknowledging that there are so many sanctuaries around us, even the ones that we can't see hidden in the trees. So from here, I'm going to close the practice in a moment. If you wish to, you can stay sat up quietly. You can lie down on the left side, maybe make a pillow with the arm and maybe place a blanket or a cushion in between the knees so you're resting on the left side. And you can take as long as you want there in this relaxed place, just enjoying a few minutes of relaxation. Thank you for joining me today on this prenatal practice. Thank you, Fit Mums, for this opportunity to bring yoga to you all.
and I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Tomorrow we have postnatal, and you're so welcome to offer that up to anyone that has just had a baby. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye everyone.